Right, so give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there are they which test me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. But another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? And I think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses, of whom you trust. If as you believe Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Psalms 147, or Proverbs 14 and 28. Shalom, man. Multitude of people is the king's honor, but in the want of people is the destruction of the prince. So, with that being said, Psalms 147 and 1. It says, Psalms 147 and 1. Hallelujah, for it is good to sing praises unto our Elohim. For it is pleasant and praise is comely. Yahuwah do build up Jerusalem. He gathered together the outcasts of Yasharal. Yahuwah lift up the meek, he cast the wicked down to the ground. Sing unto Yahuwah with thanksgiving. Sing praise upon the harp unto our Elohim, who cover the heavens with clouds and who prepare witchcraft. I'm really just going to read all. I don't really read all of it. But what we look at in verse 4 is this: is that he tells the number of stars and he calls. I have to do it. When we look at the word "tell," the word is manah, and it is to count and it's to reckon, but it is also to appoint or to ordain. So it's to count, to number, to assign, or to ordain. And you have meme, noon, and you have hey, and we see how that Yahusha blood brings forth everlasting life. So I want you to come to Hebrews chapter 9. Hebrews 9 and 12. He said, neither by the blood of goats and of calves, but by his own blood he entered once into the Kadah's place, having obtained eternal flesh. How much more shall the blood of Mashiach, who through the eternal Ruach offered himself without spot to Elohim, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living Elohim? Now, we've been discussing on a couple of these days in regards to that people were chosen aforetime. They were reckoned to be appointed. The son of Hilkiah, of the priests that were in Antioch, in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of Yahuwah came in the days of Josiah, the son of Ammon, king of Yehuda, in the 13th year of his reign. It also came in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Yehuda, unto the end of the 11th year of Zechariah, the son of Josiah, king of Yehuda, unto the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. Then the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you, and I ordained you a prophet unto the nations. Now, I believe that the word for ordained here is bakar, but it is not. It is nathan. And it's a gift to be set up. You got noon, you got tau, and you got noon again. So what can you come up with when you look at, you got two noons in the tau being set up? When you look at it being ordained, you're being appointed or set up for something. And this shalom, man. And this one, and I heard what you said mentioned. This one, him to look at it a little different. because we look at it as a seed. So we'll just use that as that Yahusha or Isaac, if you would, because it's the seed of the promise. And how that seed or Yahusha is the mark of life. He says that he tells the number of the stars. So he has already appointed or ordained the number of the stars. And then he mentions that he calls them by their name. Now, we talked about that the other day. Remember, he called Samuel by name. He called Samson by name. He called Jeremiah by name. He called Lazarus by name. You know what I'm saying? When it's people that Yahuwah knows, he calls them by name. That's why you see that in the book of Revelation, where indeed, young man, where you see that he said he'll give you a name that no man knows except the man who he gave it to, taking you back to Adam. Because those who are reckoned in heaven, he calls them by name. He already knows their name. So that when you're in places where you don't have the pollution and all the extra lights, that you see way more stars in the sky than you would usually do when you're in a city area. Because remember, why would he make the statement to say that the multitude of the sons of Yasharal will be as the stars in heaven, which cannot be numbered? Yet we live in areas where it seems like you never see sky every night. And those multitudes of stars are representative of the sons of Elohim, every single solitary person who's been ordained to be saved since the world was made. But let's continue. He's that seed. So I want you to come back. I want you to look at Romans chapter 9 before we get to back to Genesis chapter 1. Because remember, what did we read that word for? These are the things that were birthed in heaven. Who birthed them? Matter of fact, before we read Romans chapter 9, Colossians chapter 1. Colossians 1 and 15. Colossians 1 and 15. Who is the image of the invisible Elohim, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven, that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. Now listen to what he says, right? All things were what? Created by him and for him. So now remember, the heavens are an example of the things that are written, are the things that are supposed to be done in the earth. It's an example of the Gospels. All things consist. He is the head of the body, the house, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, and in all things that he might have preeminence. For it pleased the Father that in him should all fullness dwell. Now I want us to take a trip to Isaiah 59 and 20 before we get to Romans 9. Hey, that junk's filling out all over. Yes, you just realized that you have a snafu right there. Isaiah 59 and 20. You can make it 19, though. Matter of fact, make it 15. He said, yea, truth fail. And he that depart from evil maketh himself a prey. Yahuwah saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment. Now, we've discussed this before. Because Yahushua departed from evil, they hated him without a cause, and he was prey. What's going to happen in the time of the beast? Because you depart from evil, now you're open and subject to be slaughtered. What the Psalms tell us? That we are like lambs to the slaughter. But let's continue. And he saw that there was no man and wondered that there was no intercessor. You can just go straight to Yahuwah. You ain't never been able to go straight to Yahuwah. You ain't pure enough to go straight to Yahuwah. How can you be a sinner, be pure enough to go to Elohim? That don't even make common sense. When the book say his eyes are too pure to look upon evil, that means somebody has to be a go-between. Because if you go straight to him, you're going to be consumed. You can't go straight to Elohim and don't think that you're going to be consumed. What does the law tell us? That our Elohim is what? A consuming fire. So nonsense. And of course you should know that Yahuwah will be a consuming fire, considering that he says that his ministers, his Malachim, are flames of fire. But that's another conversation for another day. I just want to grab this word for sustained him, actually. Well, first, I'm going to mention intercessor because we didn't talk about that before. And that word is pagah. And I'll give you a moment to think upon that. It's pay, kamal, and ayin. Means to be an intercessor, to encounter, to entreat, to light upon, to cause to light upon, and things of that sort. Yeah, you drinking like you ain't never drunk before. You know it too. That's pay, gamal, and ayin. Yeah. The ball headed baby. A whole afro. What y'all got for that? You got pay, you got Gamal and Ayin. This is somebody who is an intercessor, who entreats on your behalf. Remember what it said in Samuel? That if a man sinned against Yahuwah, who will entreat for him? You ain't got nobody to speak to Yahuwah on your behalf, who Yahuwah is going to listen to. That's why the book says the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man avail much, and for you to confess your faults one to another. Because you can't go. And we already know the example of that in the text. Who's the example of that in the text where a righteous man prayer was on the behalf of others who could not approach? No, I'm talking about directly. Two men. Matter of fact, they were told, better get your homeboy to pray for you. Because I fool with him, I don't fool with you. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up and down. If you got faults, you best. That's why he's telling you let that be known. See, that's what I was trying to tell people today. It's like you can play with it all you want to and be worried about if somebody gonna think this about you or say this about you. You can't take your prayer to you if you out of pocket. Because he's not going to receive it. You know what I'm saying? That has to be given to somebody who he's going to receive, that they can actually take that to him on your behalf. That's why you got to go to Yahushua. That's why he tell you to confess your faults one to another and pray for one another, because that effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man can avail that. Because if you have a fault that you caught in, your prayers ain't being heard. You know what I'm saying? People can tell you whatever they want to tell you. They can make you feel however they want you to feel. Here's a request of a transgressor. But if somebody intercedes on that transgressor's behalf, it's the same thing what happened with Jehoshaphat and Ahab. He told Ahab, man, if Jehoshaphat wasn't here, bro, I wouldn't even see you, cuz I don't even see you, I don't fool with you. That's why that statement is made. But hey, Gamal. To present your pride, see why you would say that. No, I mean you looking at it because once your lift is correct. Because you want to lift it because you're looking for someone to lift a request to Yahuwah. So the lift part is no problem. You don't necessarily need to pride, but the lift part is on point. You would probably just grab the ayin and look at it and see how it means word and say how that there's a word being lifted. You know what I'm saying? That word is being lifted by the word. In this instance, because pay means word or command, we would just say Yahushua. Yahushua lifts up the word. Who does he lift up that word to? He lifts up that word to the Father on your behalf. The same way we live in a society, and people always say, pray for me, bro, pray for me. Well, when you asking somebody to pray for you, you really asking for them to intercede on your behalf. That's what you're really asking for. You're asking for somebody to intercede on your behalf. Let me show you an example of people interceding. Oh, you like to turn the page. But can you read the page? What is this? Acts chapter 12. Even though you mentioned pride, you can look at it. Pride is that you want to lift up your pride to cast it away. Because you would have to humble yourself even to. You got a fresh cup? That's your midday cup of Joe? Late afternoon? You hear Malik. That's all you care about him. Yeah. Acts chapter 12 and verse 1. He said, now about that time Herod, the king, stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the body. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Yahudim, he proceeded further to take Peter also. These were the days of unleavened bread. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison, and the list kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the house under Elohim for him. And when Herod would have brought him forth the same night, Peter was sleeping between two soldiers bound with two chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. And behold, the Malachim of Yahuwah came upon him, a light shined in the prison. He smote Peter on the side, raised him up, saying, arise up quickly, and his chain fell off from his hands. And the Malachim said unto him, gird yourself and bind on your sandals. And so he did, and he said unto him, cast your garment about you and follow me. What is the key point of what we read here? It's that the house or the saints all made intercession on this man's behalf. And Yahuwah hearkened unto that. Notice that he said they prayed. Come over to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. He said they prayed without ceasing. Same thing that Yahushua told you in Luke 18, that men are always to pray and not to faint. Why would you always to pray and not to faint? The same way when you seen David fasting and praying at the time when he impregnated Bathsheba, hoping that that child would remain alive. Because who would know if Yahuwah would be merciful? And as we read in Isaiah, and leave a blessing behind. Who will know if Yahuwah will hearken? First Thessalonians chapter 4. Might be chapter 5. It is chapter 5. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. 5 and 11. Therefore, comfort yourselves together as also you do. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor and be at peace among yourselves. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, and be patient towards all men. See that none render evil for evil unto any man, but follow after that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. I know what he said back and told you. He told you to mind it, give them comfort, to support those that are weak, and be patient towards everybody. And if somebody did you evil, you don't need to give evil in return, but you need to follow that which is good. And that you should follow that which is good, not only among those of the saints, but unto everyone. It says, rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing. And everything give thanks, for this is the will of Elohim and Yahushua HaMashiach concerning you. Quench not the Ruach, despise not prophesying, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, abstain from all appearance of evil, and the very Elohim and Shalom sanctify you wholly. And I pray, Elohim, your whole Ruach soul, and what he said, that your whole Ruach, your soul, and your body be preserved. Why do you think he made a distinction between the three? Anybody got an idea? Well, first and foremost, we read that in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 yesterday. When you commit, well, that's in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, so I apologize. When you commit fornication, you sin against your own body. So therefore, you can commit sins against your own body, and that will not allow you to be preserved blameless. Then when you talk about your soul or your spirit, see, you can keep commandments, but your spirit be foul. Like we read that they kept commandments, but not with a perfect heart. So therefore, your faith not right. So therefore, that doesn't get preserved. So of course, if that doesn't get preserved, then it deals with your soul, which is your life. And then that won't be preserved. But if your spirit is right, blameless in all three. If you have a blameless soul, that means you have a blameless spirit, which means you have blameless flesh. It takes us back to what's in the Epistle of Jude in regards to where he stated that you have those who don't even want the garment spotted with the flesh, or to keep your garments white. But all of these things come together about supporting the feeble-minded, warning the unruly, you know what I'm saying? And those who admonish and labor for them to be loved according as the word states. But let's go back to where we was at. We good in Acts chapter 12. I think we were somewhere else before that. I don't recall. Oh, Isaiah 59. That's where we were. Praise you, Lord. So that's what we look at when we sit back looking at someone being an intercessor. When you look at sustain him, the word is samak. So of course you have samak, meme, and ka. But it means to support or to uphold or to sustain or to brace oneself. But it also means to refresh and to revive. When he looked at righteousness, revived it. Because he saw that there was no intercessor. So his own regards to what it is? Exodus 31. Because when you look at samak, I believe one of the things on that is infinite. So when you take that infinite or everlasting, you have that everlasting spirit, and it's the work of the everlasting spirit. That's what's going to revive you and refresh you. But let's continue. For cloak. According to the deeds, accordingly, he will repay fury to his adversaries, recompense to his enemies. The islands will he repay recompense. So shall they fear the name of Yahuwah from the west, and his esteemed from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come to Zion unto them that turn from transgression, and Jacob saith Yahuwah, as for me, this is my covenant. With them, saith Yahuwah, my ruach that is upon you, my words which I put in your mouth, shall not depart out of your mouth, nor out of the mouth of your seed, nor out of the mouth of your seed, saith Yahuwah, from henceforth and forever. So remember that word we were looking at is that Yahusha's seed, or Yahusha is the covenant of life in regards to that seed. When you had that Nathan to be ordained, because you had those. 9 and 6. And after that, Genesis chapter 1. Romans 9 and 6. Not as though the word of Elohim have taken none effect, for they are not all Yasharal, which are Yasharal. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all sons, but in Isaac shall your seed be called. That is, they which are the sons of the flesh, these are not the sons of Elohim. The sons of the promise are counted for the seed. For this is the word of promise, that this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. So, Paul, who else got a promise of a seed of the same fashion? Very easy question. Yeah, Mary did. She got a promise of a seed. And she was told at a particular time that she would have a son, and that he would be called great, and that he would be called the son of the highest, and that he would save his people from their sins. But let's go back to Genesis chapter 1. Because remember, right, he said he called all the stars by name. That's what he said. And Yahusha was called by name from the womb, that he would be the one to save his people. This has already been set. It's already been ordained. Genesis 1 and 14. After that, Psalms chapter 8. Yeah, but he wasn't a promised seed in that regard. Because you could say the same with Samuel. But we're talking about a seed for a purpose. Because Isaac was a seed of promise. Yeah, that's Abraham's son. And that's why he mentioned that in Romans 9, that in Isaac shall your seed be called, and Yahusha shall the seed be called. Going back to Galatians 3, not seeds of many, but seeds of one. That seed being Hamashiach. So you have to be born of that seed to even be counted household. Now you got to be born a Yahusha, or you're not a part of it. Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Elohim set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon earth and to rule over the day and over the night. and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. So in that regard, that means the stars would rule over the night, would they not? How would they rule over the night? Literally.
They lighting the night. First John chapter 1. That's what it's talking about. The light of man.
That's still John chapter 1. First John.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in First John chapter 1, he tells you that Elohim is light and there's no part darkness. You know what I'm saying? Because light is greater than darkness. So the stars are over the night to rule over darkness or to rule over the wicked. So, matter of fact, since I said that, Psalms 58, just because I feel like reading. Yeah. So those veggie straws make you that happy? They get you excited. I'm glad to hear that. You have a giblet? You have a giblet? Isaiah 58 and I mean, excuse me, I'm sorry. Psalms 58 and 6. Break their teeth, O Elohim, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions. Let them melt away as the waters when I see the sun. Those are strong words. Do you see what he just said? That as a snail melt away, let the wicked be like a woman who has a miscarriage. That's serious right now, especially when you look at the verbiage that he's using. That's how he wants to feel about the wicked. Do you know how much sorrow a woman feels when she has an untimely birth? Hold on one second. See, this is a man that people want to play with. See, this is also too what y'all mentioned. I'm gonna tell you the word for untimely birth here, and it's nafal. And of course, they have abortion in here or miscarriage. But you know what's funny is that they talk about a lot of deaths in the Black community, but they never talk about how many women of our people go get abortions. Because y'all know some of y'all know some women whose vaginas is great. You know what I'm saying? And have the nerve to say that men are oppressing them. Ain't nobody oppress you to that abortion clinic. You was around here being a good $2 hoe. You got pregnant multiple times, and because you didn't want to do what you were supposed to do, you decided that you wanted to nix the baby so you could continue to be a hoe. And then had the nerve to say men are oppressing you. If you're oppressing yourself, wonder why nothing good go for you. That used to be the folks saying around the way. That if you got abortions, you'd have bad luck. But nothing good happen for you. Well, you know, shoot, ain't nothing good happen for you because you are a murderer. At the end of the day, you are a murderer. That's what you are. You can say, when does life start? You can play them white people games all you want. You are a murderer. Because you know how we know you're a murderer? Because we just read in Jeremiah chapter 1 that Yahuwah told Jeremiah, before you were formed in the womb, I knew you. So as far as Yahuwah is concerned, you are a murderer. You done sacrifice that baby to Molech or whoever you want to sacrifice it to. You may not realize that what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to be friends with a hoe I know doesn't have an abortion. You raggedy slut, you. You know what I'm saying? Be like that nigga, what that is, what's that movie? When that nigga say, you raggedy standing in the back, that's what you supposed to tell her every time she sing. You raggedy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what you tell her. You raggedy, no good slut, you. You know what I'm saying? Reason being, because every one of us know in here that none of us decided one day, let me jump in my mama's womb. Let me exit my father's testicles and fertilize this egg and be manifested on this physical plane. We here for the choices and decisions of other people. You know what I'm saying? So you have to take that into account anytime you deal with a child. The child is here because of the choices and decisions that you choose to make. So don't make their life hard and worse because you didn't think out your decision. Isaiah 58:9. Before your pots can feel the thorns, he shall take them away as with a whirlwind, both living and in his wrath. The righteous shall rejoice when they see the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that a man shall say, truly there's a reward for the righteous, for he is an Elohim that judge in the earth. Let's go back to Daniel chapter 12 and what we looked at last night, because that's a lead in. Because Daniel 12 gonna give us the exact thing to what we were discussing. How the law say that the stars are greater, they rule over the night. So what does that tell you? That the righteous rule over sinners. That's what that tells you. That takes us back to also what we were discussing yesterday. A sinner ain't got no power. Ain't no. You know why it tells you that? Because he said that you'll suffer for the word's sake. So on your part, he's evil spoken of. Well, on their part, excuse me, he's evil spoken of. But on your part, he's being esteemed. So if something happens to you, it's for the esteem of Yahuwah. So let Yahuwah be esteemed. You ain't see Peter say, why he let me go to jail? He went to jail for preaching the gospel. And notice when something happened to him, the people prayed without ceasing on his behalf. See, hold on. I think it's in the book of Revelation, right? Do you know how it describes the prayers of the saints in the book of Revelation? So hold on. Well, let's take a look at it then. In Revelation chapter 5, I believe. It might be chapter 6. I thought I would know that one. I'm in the right spot. Yep, that's what it is. Yes, ma'am. We'll pick it up at verse 5 and 4. But verse 8 is the one. Thereon, one of the elders said unto me, weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Yehuda, the root of Daud, have prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. And beheld, lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 ruachs of Elohim sent forth into all the earth. He came and took the book out of 4 beasts, and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. What is Ephesians chapter 5 describing Mashal as being? Sweet smelling savor. So your prayers are like a sweet smelling savor to Yahuwah to come up. That's how they describe. They said a golden vial. So they're contained here. They're contained here and they're brought to him by the intercessor. Yahushua intercedes on your behalf. He makes your request known to the Father. Because the Father, hold on, let's go to Matthew, John 15, I believe. John 15 and 7. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you shall ask me what you will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father esteemed, that you bear much fruit, so you shall be my disciples. As the Father have loved me, so I have loved you. Continue in my love. If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love. You know, as I've kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. Well, thank you for offering, but I'll pass because it looks like you slobbed on that. Notice what he said. If you dwell in him, his words dwell in you, then you can ask him whatever you desire and he will do it. That's why it goes back to being appointed and ordained, because you were already dwelling in him. Now you just have to get to the point to where his words dwell in you. So I'm gonna take it going back to Matthew 22. I might as well. See, notice Yahushua's not gonna hearken to you unless you're dwelling in him, and that his words are dwelling in you. See, it's not Yahusha, and his words will live in you. And if his words live in you, then you live according to it. The very thing that he said in John chapter 6, the very thing that's stated in Ezekiel chapter 20. You have to live in it. That's why I say the just shall live by their faith. The stars that are in Yahusha, and that word is dwelling in them. And we will see that in a moment. What's that? Matthew 22. Praise the Lord. Let's go around here and hit that. See, I don't want to read the whole thing. You pick it up at verse 1, I move around because I don't want to read the whole thing. Matthew 22 and 1. You held that face for a long time, longer than I thought you would. So that doesn't bother you. For his son, he sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. He sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fatlings are killed, all things are ready, come to the marriage. Remember, we were talking about this was last week. With the marriage supper of the Lamb, for drinking that cup. He's telling you to come to the party. See, that's what, like I said, right? Y'all do that. I'm not accustomed to that. I just became accustomed to that, for getting an invitation to go do something. Because we never did. Coming up, niggas never gave no invitations. If you was there and niggas was like, well, we finna hit this here, that's what it was. And nobody cared if nobody called them and said, well, we finna go do this. It wasn't even about no invitation. It was about, shoot, nigga, this is what we finna go do. And it was whoever was there at the time. Of course, cell phones weren't prevalent at that time. So it wasn't no big deal. You know what I mean? They be like, hey, boy, we finna go hit such and such, boy. Or we finna go to such and such house. That's what it was. But now when you look at this here, the gospel is an invitation to the marriage supper of the Lamb. And niggas turn the invitation down, as you already read. Look what people over here to my farm. I need to go over here to my merchandise. Other ones gonna beat the person who get the invitation, deal with them spitefully, and slay him. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. And then you think this man is pleased. But drop down, right? To verse 8. Then say he that servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were called are not worthy. There's a difference. Remember what it said in Revelation 17? We talked about it yesterday. Those that are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. See, just because you hear the word don't mean you're chosen, and it also don't mean you're faithful. That's why Peter makes a statement that make sure that you make your election sure. Make sure that you show that if you chosen, that is seen and manifest to all that come across you. Not the fact that you got content because you thought that was all that would need to be done. A lot of people get called for a lot of things. They have casting calls and people come out. Does everybody get the role? No, everybody don't get the role. He just said that they have an open tryout for the Jacksonville Sharks. Ain't got an open call. Is everybody getting the roster spot? We're guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there was a man which had not on a wedding garment. He said to him, friend, how come you in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot, take him away, cast him in the outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, few are chosen. Even with the few that are chosen, that few is a multitude, but it's few in regards to those who have been called, because there's way more that have been called than have been chosen. Now, you know the word for chosen is par. That's, you know, that's cotton, that's Raj. That's being separated to the house of the highest. You've already been separated to this house. But let's take a look again at that word for what you call it? For firmament. I need to, and it's gonna be right here in Daniel 12, so we can read Daniel 12. So it's gonna be right in there. Daniel 12 and 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. They that be wise shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Now it says, I'm going to give you the word for wise. We're not going to hit the characters. But remember that word for wise here is sakal. Does anybody other one escapes me? It starts with a C too, and it was just in my head, and now it escapes me. And then you have sakal. So sakal means to be prudent, to be circumspect, or wisely understand. Also to give attention to, and to consider, and to be prudent, to have insight, and to have comprehension. So when you look at this here, when you are moving wisely, as it states here, it is Sean Cocker-Lamont, if you're aware. So you can clearly see how you've been taught this work and you joined to it. That's why you would give attention to and take heed to what you're doing. That's why you would be prudent and circumspect in what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with wisdom, wisdom is just not the ability just to discern right from wrong. It's the ability to give attention to detail in situations and circumstances and handle them according to the situation and not according to what you feel the situation should be done. That's how you're able to move wisely. So you could get aggressive in a situation where it calls for you to be passive. You know what I'm saying? When I say impassive, a little bit of gentle. You know what I'm saying? And you could do the reverse. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at that. He said, they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the Raj, Kuf, Yod, and Ayin. If you wouldn't drink it so fast, you wouldn't have that. It ain't going nowhere, baby. So of course we say with Kuf, we're gonna come. I mean, with the Raj, of course, we're just gonna go ahead and it'll be either a man's head or first or the chief or the highest, either Yahuwah or Yahusha, which is pretty much the same thing. And then you have light for that Kuf. So you can look at the light of the highest. But then say for Ayin, maybe we want to say to know the light of the highest. Or maybe we want to sit back and say to know the word or the final word of the highest. Bring that God into play. And you know, you look at the final actions or deed or the worship of the highest, which is the sacrifice. Now, of course, you call it, this is an extended surface or a base, and it says it's the brightness of the firmament. So that means the stars would be considered to be what? Affixed to the firmament, correct? So if the stars are fixed, you dwell in Yahusha because Yahusha is that firmament. That's why that Rosh is there. And that's why that Ayin is there. So I listened to a video last night, brothers were talking, he mentioned that. Y'all know what the word esoteric means, right? Or hidden. That's what is considered to be in Mason halls and things of that nature. They're dealing with esoteric knowledge, meaning this is not knowledge that is readily known to the masses. He was referring to that the Hebrew pictograph is considered to be esoteric knowledge, meaning that there's a meaning that is not readily accessible to everyone who looks at it. Meaning you look at a Rosh and you're not going to see highest if you don't know that information. You're going to look at that Dalit and you're not going to see doorway if you're not privy to that information. You know what I'm saying? And that is esoteric because that's secret. That's information that in the modern script, when it's written, you're not necessarily going to see that because they don't necessarily even modern Hebrew. Still means the character still means the same thing, but that's hidden information. And of course, you can see with a lot of concepts when you look at a lot of words that there's characters there that actually support what that word means in context to the action that is being spoken of. So if we look at that the firmament is the base of support, and we just read in Isaiah 59 that he sent righteousness and it sustained him, and that word means to support. And that the heavens were made by the righteousness of Yahuwah because it was made by the things that were invisible so that they could be seen because of the word of faith, because you would have to know that Yahuwah exists because you see the things that are manifest that were made from things that are not seen, that you would know that Yahuwah is the living Elohim. So then you know that these stars dwell and are supported by a firmament or a base of which they presently dwell in. The stars dwell in the firmament, they don't dwell in the clouds. They dwell in the firmament. And he called the firmament heaven. You understand? So the stars dwell where Elohim, if you want to look at it in that regard, because they in the first. But let's continue. We did talk about that word for brightness. So when we look at this here, the stars were ordained, and this is an honor. I'm going to go back and read Genesis 15 again. Oh, you got teeth in there. You got teeth in there. Well, you're looking like your uncle. At least you ain't got his head. That boy got a peanut head. Genesis chapter 15, verse 4. Put that in your mouth. Put that in your mouth. Put that in your mouth. And behold, this is Genesis 15. Abraham means exalted father, and he said that his heir would come out of his own bowels. The same way with Yahusha, that he is the son of the exalted father, and he comes out of his own bowels to be his heir. The promised seed. See, hold on now. Bear with me. Watch out now. Watch out, little baby. I see you over there. You got a binky. I just took it. I gave it back. I took it away. I took it away. Oh, you find that funny? Gotta be quicker than that. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look now towards heaven and tell the stars if you're able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall your seed be. So this is how the seed of sons of Elohim will be. Look to the heavens. When the last time some of y'all looked at that and actually were able to? Now, of course, I don't think that these people have that much foresight, but maybe they do. Maybe these people don't want you to see the level of stars in the sky, so you won't believe that that many people will be saved. You never know. It could be a subconscious thing. You never know. Because there's way more stars in the sky that you see on a good night when you walk out the door. You know what I'm saying? You walk out the door, you be like, there ain't no stars in the sky. I done told you, I said, when I was a kid, you used to see stars in the sky all the time. But now what do you have? You have much neon lighting and street lights and this, that, there, and the third, that it block it out. But if you look at it this way, now this is my opinion. There's no information that I've seen that can back that up. So this is just my opinion, my perspective on the matter. My perspective is they created all this artificial light because they artificial sons of Elohim, and they want to be lights on the earth. They want to show the ability that we can manifest light and be a light and guide to people. Versus that those stars in heaven are supposed to be a light on the earth because they're representative of the sons of Elohim, who are the lights of the world. Because Yahusha said that I am what? The light of the world. And it tells you in Numbers 24 and 17 that a star or a light will come out of Jacob. Now, according to science, stars are created from offshooting out of the sun. That's according to science. That's where they say stars come from. Because they say the sun is nothing but a big old star. It's a continual flow out of him. This is why Dr. Leadham I can try to come and tell you that the sun will one day burn out. Because they want you to subconsciously believe that one day Yahuwah will be extinguished. That he will just no longer exist. But that's another conversation for another day. I had something in my head to go grab. I gotta remember what it was. Give me a moment. Let's do it. Matthew 13. Y'all willing to come? Free me. She said, I've been captured by some demons. And taking samples of my blood and my singing song. Clearly, y'all not aware of it. Matthew chapter 13, verse 36. Then Yahushua sent the multitude of the sons of the kingdom, the tares of the sons of the wicked ones. The enemy that sowed them is the devil, and the harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the Malachim. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be at the end of the world. The Son of Man shall send forth his Malachim, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and them which do iniquity. And they shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be a wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who have ears to hear, let him hear. Now he said that we just talked about the word for son last night. Who recalls what it is? You can get Malachi chapter 4. The word for son. The mash. And what did you have with that? Two shines and a mean. So when you look at that, what is that telling you? You get paired to the Ruach's consumption. Because remember, we were looking at it. What will the sun do? It brings forth heat. What does heat do? It purifies and it purges. And it purifies and purges two ways. You can get that Ruach of burning, so you can be purified, or you can get that Ruach of burning and you can get killed. Malachi 4:1. For behold, the day comes that shall burn as an oven. And all you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. And he shall go forth and grow up as calves up to the stall. And you shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet. In the day that I shall do this, saith Yahuwah of hosts. This is what we just seen in Psalm 58. You'll trample under them and you'll wash your feet in their blood. But what is the purpose of this? Why is this able to happen? Because you dwell in the firmament, which means you're supported or you're on the base of the sun. See, come over here to Psalms chapter 8. Psalms chapter 8. Psalms chapter 8 and verse 1. Little baby. Where do you think you're going? Oh, you like for me to pick you up, or is that just how you walk? You walk like Frankenstein? That's how you walk? Oh, you find that humorous. 8 and 1, that's funny to you? What you got? What kind of chips? What are your favorite chips? What are these chips? You don't even know what kind of chips you're eating. Psalms 8 and 1. Oh, Yahuwah our Lord, how is your name in all the earth, who have set your esteem above the heavens. So again, take that again. What we remember what we read, that the waters are above the heavens, but there's a second and third heaven. So his esteem is above the heaven that we are cognizant of. He's telling you this. That's why, and that gives us further thing when we were looking at that second and third heaven. Statement of that out of the mouth of babes come perfected praise. But he said out of the mouth of babes and weaklings, you have ordained strength. I'm going to just mention the word strength here. Now the word for ordained is different here. And it's yesod. And it's to be founded, and it's to be fixed, and it's to lay a foundation. So notice what he's looking at. Babes and sucklings are ordained, and this Yad Samak and Dalet. So you're grabbing hold to the work of the sacrifice. This is how you ordain, taking us back to you were slain with the lamb in regards to the word for firmament. That is means it's a foundation and it's a support. So when you got strength, you have Oz, which is the Ayin and the Zayin, and it's your might or your strength. So what do you have this year? You can sit back and see how the word is fruitful. That you know, or you can sit back and say, you know the fruit. Because what does it tell you in 2 Timothy 1 and 7? The Elohim is not giving us the ruach of fear. There's torment. He that fears not made perfect in love, which means you can't be made perfect in completion in regards to becoming a son of Elohim. What fear did Yahushua have? He had none. See, we around here fearing things of men. A man should be the last thing you fear. But it's usually the first. At least that's how people perceive it. But what people really fear the most is change. You know what people fear the most? Not being in control. You know what people fear the most? Not having the ability to dictate situations and circumstances. which is almost the same as control, but just a tad bit different. You know what people fear the most? Even if it's under the same umbrella, not being able to dictate which way life goes. Because you think that you were made for your own esteem and all according to his purpose. You have to look at is what you, and this is why it goes back to the woman is supposed to follow her husband's purpose. But the purpose has to be clear and defined, the same way that your husband's purpose is clear and defined. Because if it's going to be according to his purpose, then of course that means that he's setting you on a pathway that brings honor to him. So you're supposed to be more focused on building up his house and not building up your own. You know what I'm saying? See, a man and a woman can't have two visions. Because the same way the book tell you that you can't have two masters because you're going to love one and hate the other. You're going to cleave to the one and you're going to forsake the other. That's the same difference. Because if you got two people with two different visions, the people are going to follow after their vision. Somebody's vision is going to be hated. Because somebody out the two is going to have to yield to that vision. And see, Yahuwah's not yielding. He's not yielding. You're going to follow his vision. His vision was set before the world was made. So you can get it. And I was going to mention this the other day, but that's what happened with Vashti. Y'all know who Queen Vashti is? Yeah. Who said that? Yes. Oh, you said that, yes. Vashti. She worked. That's the name of a nigga work at the Quickie Mart. One and 9. Esther 1 and 9. Also, Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Xerxes. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Newman. And there's another thing you notice that they're drinking wine and what's going on. Celebratory environment. He commanded Mehum and Bizza and Harbona and Bigthoth and Abagoth and Zethar and Sarsis, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Xerxes the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look upon. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. What does that sound like the something we just read in the chamberlains, and that pissed him off? We just read something right along them lines. That parable in Matthew 22. She was called, but she wasn't chosen because she didn't bring her stinking behind on. You know what I'm saying? And you have to look at that, because guess what? Those apostles, those prophets, those pastors, those teachers, those evangelists, they send forth to bring the call. You're supposed to come to the king when he called. See, people get it twisted. It's not that you coming to the person who's bringing forth the call, because again, I have to reiterate, what did Yahushua say? He that believe on me, don't believe on me, but on Yahuwah and his prophets, and you shall be established. Because you're not believing on the man who told it to you. You're believing on the man he's telling you about. You're not coming to the man who called, whose voice you can audibly hear. You're coming to the voice of the man whose word he's telling you. That's if you believe those type of things. Because we know everybody don't believe those type of things. I'm just grabbing the Aramaic word here for refused. That word is and it simply means refuse. And you have meme, aleph, and noon. So you know what that is? See, that strength of that blood is that seed. But when you a sinner, you refuse to listen. And guess what's on your hands when you a sinner? Blood. So the strength of that blood will be your downfall. Let's continue. The king said to the wise men which knew the times. Hold on, they say the wise men knew the what? They knew the times. That word is You know what it is. Experience, fortunes, occurrence, occasion. They know what this ayin and ta. They know the covenant. They know the word of the covenant. See, what did Paul tell you in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5? We are those who are the night. Read it in the second anyway, but we are the day. He said, I ain't telling you this as you don't know the signs of the season. You're supposed to know the time. Ain't no way in the world you're going to tell me you know the word, and you're going to say that I'm not going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Whether that's you a man or a woman, whether you married or unmarried, it don't make no difference. Because see, I know the times. So you know what I mean to run and cut the lawnmower on. Don't cut it on now, nigga. Now it ain't got no gas. You supposed to got the gas before you came home. He won't listen. He said next under him was Karshina, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meris, Marsana, and the first thing they looked at, what should we do to her according to law? Because she have not performed the commandment of King Xerxes by the chamberlain. You see what it is? What is Yahuwah going to do with you according to the law? Because you don't want to hear him who spake on earth. You best not buck him who speak from heaven. Let's keep on going, though. Mech sent answer the king and the princess. Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of King Xerxes. He said she just bought you, cuz. She bought us too. Let's see why he says she bought you too. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so they say that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. King Xerxes commanded Vashti to be brought in before him, but she came not. See, I didn't mention that before. See, all that stuff where niggas be on, correct her in private. When she done disrespect you in public, you a damn fool. You better straighten her right there where she did it at, because that's what Yahuwah gonna do. He gonna wait to get you to the house and tell you fool. Now you don't have to act a fool in correcting her, but you can't let that slide though. Especially when you're dealing with the word and say you in a position of authority or this, that, there, and the third. Look at what his concern was. Now see what you done did, bro. Now she gonna go when this gets out. When this gets out, all the women in the kingdom gonna despise their husband. Now I'm gonna hit you with that word for despise is bizarre, to hold in contempt or disdain. And it's by Zayin and Hay. Now they're gonna have a disdain for their husbands. They're gonna consider him to be vile and worthless. Because you know what I'm saying? This nigga called. See, we talking about this nigga called for me. And I said, man, nigga, eat butthole. She didn't even say eat butthole. She just didn't come. And you know why she didn't come? Because she was riding there entertaining her friends, farting and telling lies. That's why she didn't come. Because that's what it said she was doing, right? She was having a feast for the women. She said, oh, no, I ain't coming. Let's see what else it said. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Medes say this day unto all the king's princes which have heard the deed of the queen, there shall arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and Medes that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Xerxes, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. What did Yahushua say something about that? That the kingdom of Elohim will be taken from you and give it to somebody better than you, because when the call comes, you don't listen. So you're not a son of, let me take that from you. Ain't that what he said? Like I said, you just don't have to pause and look at it in the natural sense. You have to look at it in the spiritual sense of what's being stated as well. For it is great. All the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Musan. Let me tell you something, right? You know this, right? You know that a woman don't have to listen to a man if she's not a man. See, that's what they tell you in the world, that once I become a wife, I'm gonna do all this over here. No, you're probably not. You're probably not. Because you can't cut that switch on and off. That's either how you conduct yourself or it's not. See, the key question is not showing honor to a man you're not married to yet. The key question is why would you fool with somebody that you couldn't honor? Same way my brother Saul mentioned that the other day. Why would you marry a nigga you don't respect? Why would you marry a nigga that you feel is unintelligent? Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? And that's just an honest assessment. If you know that he's worthy of honor, you would worry. Did Rebecca look at it and say, I'm not going to do this for this nigga because he's not my husband? She had no idea who he was. He does. It wouldn't have mattered who that was. She would have done the same thing. See, that's the difference of knowing if you're ready to be somebody's wife, or you also, in the same turn, if you're ready to be somebody's husband, because this is what you do. You're not doing it to curry favor. You're not doing it to gain brownie points or to get some butt. You're doing this because this is what you do. That woman not doing this so, oh, you'll come and take care of me and I can spend your money and I ain't got to pay no bills. This is what she does. Are you all right? Are you sleeping? I bet you is sleep. You sit up all night, farting and whatnot, watching movies and stuff. That's what you be doing. You don't even like the movie you looking at. You don't want to look at it. It's a movie. But you have to look at that in God. You have to honor him. Now let's take ourselves to Psalms chapter 2. Hey, Lil Joe. Can I get my slide, Lil Joe? Lil Joe. What you laughing for? His name is Joseph. And he's little. Well, the same way your name is Makai, his name is Joseph. It is name. His name is Dakar. His name is also Joseph. Well, let me finish Psalms chapter 8. I ain't finished that. Now, when you sit back and say, because he ordained strength, this is Psalms 8 and 2. I'm sorry. Also, when they say that because of the enemies, he might steal the enemy and the avenger, that's death. He got to stop it. Let me get that word for steal. And it's Shabbat. So that's what it says that when he say he'll steal the enemy, that he might steal the enemy. He will cause the enemy to cease and desist. He will cause death to cease and desist. Then he jumped up like he had the boo-boo after that. But you fought it, boy? Oh. Little Joe. Oh, I can't even reach down there, Little Joe. Verse 3 of Psalms 8. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, why is it the moon Yasharal? What scripture in the law can you use to justify that? It's an evil. The word for ordained that is used in this verse is kum. Also, to be stable, to be established, to be firm, and to be fixed, and to be fastened. And the stars are fastened on what? On the firmament. Notice the key point of every time you look at something that's been ordained, that it is firm and it's established and it's affixed to something. That's a little joke. But who can tell me why? He says the moon is Yasharal. How can we prove that the moon is a woman? Well, let's take a look and see. Genesis 37 and Revelation 12. Genesis 37. Oh, Genesis 1 and 14. Talking about with the stars and all? Yeah. Started in 1 and 14. Oh, Baba. At the Baba. What? Oh, now you got your fur on and a backpack. And you got cranberry wine on too. That boy he gonna walk around that like that's a smoker's jacket. He ain't gonna have no shirt. This is 37 and 5. Oh, they can see me. You say that? And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Here, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheep arose, and also stood upright, and behold, your sheep stood round about it, and made obeisance to my sheep. His brethren said unto him, Shall you indeed reign over us, or shall you indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dream and for his words. And he dreamed, made obeisance to me. He told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brethren indeed come down to bow ourselves to you to the earth? So we see the woman, and I told you this here, the woman is always compared to the moon and subliminal type things because the moon goes through phases, and all these women in here know that they go through phases. Maybe 5 phases in 15 minutes if it's a day. But nevertheless, he looked at you like, stop it. Huh? What? Oh, that nigga not there. Huh? You go through phases, D? I know you do. I know you go through phases. Oh, you a baby now. I'm just messing with you. Callie, you go through some phases? Callie, where you at? Oh, you know. Stanley don't even want to look at you. They say you just went through a phase in the car on the way over. And you pregnant too? Revelation 12:1. He said, there appeared a great wonder in heaven, and a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red serpent, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the serpent stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for her to devour her child as soon as it was born. She brought forth a man child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up under Elohim into his throne. Again, that moon under her feet, that's Yasharal. The moon is so when he say, hold on, let me read Psalms 8 again. I'm finna get ready to wrap this up in here. Remember, he say, when he considered the heavens and the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you ordained. I get this straight, right? A light unto the nations. So the greater light is Yahushua, who is the light, and the stars are the sons who are birthed from them, which is the sons of Elohim, which are supposed to be a light to separate light from darkness, wickedness, or guilt. You're not gonna tell me that. You ain't gonna be able to base that on, oh, they're an Edomite. You's a stupid nigga. You's a fool. You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't base that off of that. He bases it off of your conduct, how you live, how you conduct yourself. That's what's going to tell it. Did he say he that is of such and such flesh is a son? He say he that is born of Elohim sin not. He say he that is sins is of the devil. Oh, we know you go through phases, don't you? Oh yeah, you went through one 15 minutes ago, didn't you?
No, I haven't had any today. No, very well.
I've been doing very well. The husband says, he said, I object.
I haven't had any today. Don't be upset with my progress, okay?
Now, why would I be upset with progression? Oh, she done took the baby from you. You upset.
Oh, no.
You don't roll your eyes at me. I'm gonna suplex you. I'm gonna get you. We good. Come back to Psalms chapter 8. Then we get Psalms 2.
Hey, sir, be quiet.
We don't need that. We don't need good at Psalms 8 because then it goes to tell you, man, a little lower than the angels. That's referring to Yahushua for the purpose for the sufferings of death. Psalms chapter 2, though. Little girl, how many times you got to use the bathroom? Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahuwah and his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away the cords from us. He that sit in the heavens shall laugh, and the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet I have set my king upon my Kadash hill of Zion. Who remembers that word for hill / mountain? Hard, there you go. Behold the highest. That's what you're going to see on his set apart mountain, his set apart hill. Who have said unto me, you art my son, this day have I begotten you. Number one, remember decree and safar. We just talked about that word. That is to account or to relate, to be rehearsed. This is something that's already been stated. Let's get begotten thee. Well, decree is coke. It's a statute. It's a prescribed due. It's a prescribed limit. It's an enactment. You got cotton kuth, the final separation. You are my son, this day have I begotten you. Begotten, of course, you should know is Yalad, which is to bring forth. Ask of me, and I will give you the heathen for your inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them into pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O you kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve Yahuwah with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish. It's Nashah. It means to put together, or to kiss, or to handle, or to be equipped. The characters here are Nun, Shan, and Kuf. You may proceed. When he tell you to kiss the Son, it's Nun, Shan, and Kuf. The shock is the word. And when it has some here, the word is bar, which is an heir. Son or heir. And that's Bat and Rosh. And that's pretty, the house of the highest. It's pretty simple. Or the son of the highest. Meaning heir to the throne. So when he say kiss the Son, he's telling you to be joined together with the heir of the throne. Who is the son of the highest. After we get through this Psalms chapter 2. Hey, you good. Good. Go sit down. Noon, Shan, and Kaf. I mean, Kuf. I'm sorry. That's what you got. Noon, Shan, and Kuf. You look at that. You know what I'm saying? Same thing what he just said. It's all the same thing. It's getting you to the same purpose. You got to be paired to the Son. That's why you join together. And since he's the Son, and it's not born or been there, but barking, and you become a son of the highest because you're joined together to that firmament. You were those stars that were attached to that firmament because you dwell in him. So therefore, his word would dwell in you, and therefore the request would be hearkened unto. They pick it up in 20, I suppose. You could make it 19. Shine said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he see the Father do. For what things soever he do, these also do the Son likewise. For the Father loved the Son and show him all things that himself do. He will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. For as the Father raised up the dead and quickened them, even so the Son quickened whom he will. The Father judged no man, but have committed all judgment unto the Son. That all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honor not the Son, honor not the Father which have sent him. Because you can't be an heir if you don't honor the Son who the Father has sent. Remember that parable, I believe it's in Matthew 22 also, where he said that they would that he hired out his vineyard and he say, lastly, I'll send my son. And they say, you know what, we're going to slay him and take the vineyard for itself, but we refuse to have this man rule over us. Well, we done discussed that. You can't say you were son and be without the chastity. That take us back to you have to be taught with the thorns and briars. The word is the same. It's all the same word. Point to the, I'm gonna be honest with you. After you done it for a while, like y'all willing, we hit tabernacles, that's year 8. It ain't gonna be doing nothing but looking at this something different, looking at the same scenarios in a different way from a different vantage point. Because it ain't gonna be so much the new stuff that you're gonna get. How some people feel like, oh, it's always gonna be, yeah, you're gonna get something new out of it. But after you've been serving Yahuwah for a while and you go through this text, you have been done covered it all in a certain aspect, if you would, for lack of a better term. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about, oh man, we can find this and know that. After you've been serving and teaching and preaching you for 15, 20, 30 years, well, I mean, how much new stuff you think you're going to pull out? Because I mentioned that because you don't see the apostles or anyone in the text with that type of mind frame that people have now. It was more concerning of let us expound the perfect will of Elohim in the way of salvation that people can be saved. That's not what people's minds are at now. See, now we want knowledge. We want to know stuff. We want to feel like we know something other people don't know. We feel like, oh, I want to learn something new. And you haven't encapsulated and grasped, but most importantly, contained the words that you done heard, but you always looking for the next thing. That's the type of world we live in. People are always looking for the next thing. That's why he tell you to be content with what you have. See, when you're always looking for the next thing and you ain't never satisfied, then you can never have joy. And you can never rejoice in Yahuwah. Because they didn't live like how we live. See, really, we live in like what Paul stated with the Greeks. I'll always want to learn something new. See, that's our problem. You ain't mastered what you know, what you heard, but you ready to learn something new. You got to master what you've been taught first before you worry about learning something new. You think them children just gonna get up from crawling and jump on a bicycle and start riding it? Shoot, they be happy with the crawling. And then they get steady and say, no, now let me walk. Now I can run. Now I can ride a bicycle. We be wanting to go from crawling to driving a car. I ain't satisfied with crawling. I need to learn how to drive. You ain't mastered crawling yet. But we good right now. Revelation chapter 2. From Revelation 2 to Revelation 21. 2 and 26, if you would. And he that overcome and keep my works unto the end will I give power over the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron and the vessels of a potter, and they shall be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Abba, and I will give him the morning star. He gonna give him the day star. That's the same thing Peter said to the what? To the day star, arise in your hearts. Or till light enters into your heart. Because if light enters into your heart, then what is going out of your heart? Darkness, sin, and death. He said, he that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the houses. Do you know why I read that Revelation 2? Because is that not the same promise you read in Psalm chapter 2? And what is that promise in Psalm chapter 2 after he said that? He told you to do what? Kiss the Son. He joined together with the Son of the highest. And blessed are those that put their trust in him. Which goes back to what he said, abide in me, and if my words abide in you, then you ask the Father what you will, and he shall give it to you. Revelation chapter 21 and verse 6, and we will conclude right there because make it 21 and 4. Well, shoot, 21 and 1. They ain't about it. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. I, Yakanan, saw the Kadash city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim, out of Shamahim, prepared as a bride ordained for her husband. I heard a great voice out of the heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of Elohim is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Elohim himself shall be with them, and be their Elohim. Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying. Neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. He that sat upon the throne, I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of water of life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things. I will be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. Because if you join together with the Son of the highest, then what are you going to do? You're going to overcome. How are you joined to the Son of the highest? Because you are those stars that are fixed on the firmament or in that base. And if you attack to that support system, then you're overcome. Because you're joined together to the Son, because you join together with him in the firmament. Shine as those that be wise are at the brightness of the firmament, and those that do wise. That's what that is when you're dealing with the stars. This literally means, by Hebrew definition, the progeny of the sons of Elohim. It literally says, not the sons of Elohim, let me correct myself. The progeny of Mashiach. Progeny is seed, children. Period. That's what that is. So when you sit back and you look at that, The only way that you can be a star is to be affixed to the firmament, and you're affixed to the firmament through faith. So hallelujah for Yahushua the word. I appreciate y'all time this evening, this afternoon, evening, whatever you want to call it. Bless all y'all in the house, y'all name of Yahushua. You who are willing to pick it up Wednesday. And know because time has went forward, as they like to say, that Friday nights we start at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. So if you go around at 8 o'clock looking for it, wait an extra 60 minutes because I ain't gonna be us. It gets darker later, so that means you have a little bit more daylight to get certain things done. And I work, but that's mainly for the people who are on here watching. So you who are willing, till next time. Get away, Grandma.